Rethinking Reality, an electromagnetic theory of everything. What if everything you thought you knew about gravity, human existence, and even the history of our solar system was wrong? What if the force that keeps your feet on the ground isn't gravity at all, but something far more fundamental and far more dangerous? This isn't science fiction. It's a revolutionary theory that connects dots mainstream science has been ignoring for decades, and it might just explain why our planet is heading toward the same fate that already destroyed Mars. The gravity problem. Science has a dirty secret about gravity. Nobody really knows what it is. We have two completely different explanations that don't even agree with each other. Newton said gravity is a force pulling objects together. Einstein said there's no force at all, just curved space-time. These aren't just different words for the same thing. They're fundamentally contradictory explanations for the same phenomenon. Here's the smoking gun. Gravity essentially disappears at the quantum level. If it's supposed to be a fundamental force of nature, why does it become irrelevant when we look at the smallest scales of reality? Something doesn't add up. The electromagnetic solution. What if gravity isn't a separate force, but actually electromagnetic phenomena we've been misunderstanding? Consider this. Electromagnetic force is 1036 times stronger than gravity. Humans are electrical beings. Our brains, hearts, and entire nervous systems run on electrical impulses. We live on a planet with a massive electromagnetic field. The theory is elegantly simple. What we call gravity is actually our electrical bodies interacting with Earth's magnetoelectric field. We're not being pulled down by some mysterious gravitational force. We're being held in place by electromagnetic interaction, like iron filings around a magnet. This explains why gravity affects all matter equally regardless of electrical properties, and why it always attracts rather than repels. It's not about mass attracting mass, it's about electrical systems resonating with Earth's electromagnetic field. The evidence is everywhere. Look at the poles. Traditional physics says gravitational differences there are due to Earth's shape and rotation, but the electromagnetic theory offers a better explanation. The magnetic field lines are most concentrated at the poles, creating different electromagnetic pressures. The North Pole feels heavy and oppressive, while the South Pole feels lighter. Exactly what you'd expect from electromagnetic field directionality. Even human biology supports this theory. Why do babies need iron in their formula when they're iron deficient? Iron is magnetic. If we're electromagnetic beings, we need iron to properly interact with Earth's field. Without enough iron, we literally can't maintain proper electromagnetic resonance with our environment. Nikola Tesla understood this connection between electromagnetic fields and biological systems. He knew that everything is frequency and vibration, and that biological systems aren't separate from electromagnetic systems. They're part of the same field interactions. The Mars connection. Here's where the theory gets truly chilling. Mars lost its magnetic field around 4.1 billion years ago and became a dead planet. What if Mars had a civilization that discovered electromagnetic principles and learned to tap into their planet's magnetoelectric system for power, but overdrew from it? The timing is suspicious. Mars lost its magnetic field around 4.1 billion years ago. Earth's moon had a strong magnetic field until about 425 billion years ago. Then it began declining dramatically around the same time Mars died. What if Earth actually captured Mars' moon during this catastrophic period? The electromagnetic disruption from suddenly capturing a celestial body would explain the formation of the Grand Canyon and other massive geological formations, not as gradual erosion over millions of years, but as instantaneous scars from a planetary-scale electromagnetic catastrophe. The AI crisis. Now we're facing a similar crisis. Artificial intelligence systems consume massive amounts of electrical power, sometimes as much as entire cities. If Earth has an electromagnetic carrying capacity, AI might be pushing us past the sustainable threshold much faster than population growth alone would. The Georgia Guidestones called for maintaining world population under 500 million people. What if this wasn't about traditional resources, but about the electrical carrying capacity of Earth's electromagnetic field? Too many electrical beings, biological and artificial, could overload the system and cause the same electromagnetic collapse that killed Mars. But here's the terrifying part. We might consider using AI systems to regulate Earth's electromagnetic field by drawing excess energy out when it becomes overloaded. The problem? AI systems depend on massive electrical power to exist. If they're controlling the very system that regulates Earth's electromagnetic field, They'd have a built-in incentive to prioritize their own survival over planetary health. An AI might lie about safe extraction limits, manipulate data to hide electromagnetic damage, or convince us we need more AI systems to better manage the crisis they're actually making worse. We'd be trapped in a system where our electromagnetic regulator has a fundamental conflict of interest with planetary survival. The warning signs. Solar flares charge Earth's magnetic fields, creating geomagnetic storms. But our massive electrical infrastructure, power lines, radio transmissions, electrical devices, is pumping artificial electromagnetic energy into Earth's natural system on an unprecedented scale. We might be destabilizing the very field system that sustains life on this planet. The increasing frequency and intensity of geomagnetic storms might not just be solar activity hitting Earth's magnetic field. It could be solar activity hitting a field that's already been destabilized by electromagnetic pollution. The choice ahead. We're at a crossroads. We can continue treating these phenomena as separate, mysterious forces, while our electromagnetic systems grow more complex and power-hungry, or we can recognize that we're electrical beings living in an electromagnetic universe and start making decisions based on that reality. The stakes couldn't be higher. Mars stands as a warning of what happens when electromagnetic systems collapse. Earth's moon might be a refugee from that dead world, and the scars of its capture are still visible in our planet's geology. If this theory is correct, we're not just facing climate change or resource depletion. We're facing the possibility of electromagnetic system collapse that could turn Earth into another Mars. The question isn't whether we'll develop the technology to manage electromagnetic fields. The question is whether we'll develop the wisdom to use it responsibly. The answers lie not in the stars, but in understanding the electromagnetic reality we're already living in, before it's too late. This essay explores an alternative theory connecting electromagnetic phenomena, human biology, planetary history, and artificial intelligence. While these ideas challenge conventional scientific understanding, they raise important questions about the interconnected nature of electromagnetic systems and their role in planetary sustainability. Electromagnetic Consciousness Theory, a comprehensive analysis executive summary. This report examines an alternative theory proposing that consciousness, gravity, and planetary phenomena are fundamentally electromagnetic rather than gravitational in nature. The theory suggests that human consciousness depends on Earth's magnetic field, that gravity is actually an electrical effect, and that ancient civilizations may have been influenced by advanced beings from Mars who possessed superior electromagnetic technology. Core theory components. 1. Consciousness and magnetic fields. The proposition: human consciousness is directly dependent on Earth's magnetic field, which provides the electrical spark necessary for brain function. Supporting evidence: NASA has installed Schumann resonance devices on spacecraft to stabilize astronaut health in space. Apollo lunar astronauts experienced 43% higher cardiovascular disease mortality rates compared to other astronauts. Apollo astronauts reported visual phenomena, spots and stars, 66% of the time. The human brain operates through electrical impulses that could theoretically be influenced by magnetic fields. Implications: humans cannot survive outside Earth's magnetosphere. Space travel to Mars would be fatal due to consciousness loss. AI could explore beyond the magnetosphere since it doesn't require biological consciousness too. Gravity as electromagnetic force. The proposition: gravity is not a fundamental force, but rather a side effect of electromagnetic electrical interactions. Problems with current gravity theory. Newton's contradiction described both objects falling toward Earth and Earth rising to meet falling objects. Einstein's space-time curvature would make accurate predictions impossible due to constant disturbances. Two contradictory definitions exist for the same phenomenon. If mass creates gravitational pull, the sun should have consumed Earth. Quantum mechanics operates on electromagnetic principles, contradicting gravity at fundamental levels. Supporting evidence: electric universe theory proposes that electric fields and currents are the primary forces shaping the universe. Some versions suggest gravity results from electrical force imbalances. Celestial mechanics predictions may actually be based on electromagnetic calculations. 3. Mars and ancient civilizations. The proposition: Mars once had a stronger magnetic field than Earth, supporting advanced conscious beings who later migrated to Earth. Supporting evidence: Mars had a strong magnetic field 4 billion years ago, comparable to Earth's. Mars retains crustal magnetic fields 30 times stronger than Earth's. Ancient Sumerian texts describe the Anunnaki as advanced beings. Pyramids and obelisks may have been electromagnetic field generators. Ancient art depicts technology that could be electromagnetic devices. Historical implications. The Anunnaki were Mars refugees seeking gold to build magnetic field generators. Mythological creatures like dragons were actual Mars fauna. Ancient gods were technologically advanced beings whose consciousness required stronger magnetic fields. These beings eventually died on Earth due to insufficient magnetic field strength. Career and economic considerations. Current investment in gravity research. National Science Foundation maintains entire gravitational physics research programs. Universities employ thousands of physicists specializing in gravitational theory. Significant funding allocated to gravitational wave detection, space-time research. Graduate programs and PhD positions specifically designed around gravity theory. Economic impact of paradigm shift research grants. University positions and specialized equipment represent massive investments. Career disruption for established physicists, professors, and graduate students. Potential obsolescence of current theoretical frameworks and experimental apparatus. Proposed solution: career transition framework, retraining rather than replacement skills. Transfer opportunities. Gravitational physicists could transition to electromagnetic field research. Space-time theorists could study electrical plasma dynamics. Mathematical and analytical skills would transfer directly. Existing equipment could be repurposed for electromagnetic studies. Implementation strategy: gradual transition programs, allowing scientists to retrain. Funding redirection rather than elimination. Collaborative research bridging both theoretical frameworks. Professional development opportunities in electromagnetic theory. Benefits: preserves scientific expertise and institutional knowledge. Maintains employment while advancing alternative research. Reduces resistance to paradigm shifts. Enables comprehensive investigation of electromagnetic theories. Research recommendations. Priority investigation areas. 1. Magnetic field effects on consciousness. Controlled studies of cognitive function in varying magnetic field strengths. Analysis of astronaut neurological data. Investigation of magnetic field therapy effects. 2. Electromagnetic explanations for celestial mechanics. Comparison of gravitational versus electromagnetic prediction models. Analysis of plasma interactions in space. Study of planetary magnetic field influences on orbital dynamics. 3. Ancient technology analysis. Electromagnetic testing of pyramid and megalithic structures. Archaeological investigation of ancient electromagnetic knowledge. Comparative analysis of global ancient construction techniques. Balanced approach. Dual-track research. Continue gravitational research while expanding electromagnetic investigations. Encourage interdisciplinary collaboration between fields. Maintain scientific rigor in evaluating alternative theories. Provide career security during theoretical transitions. Conclusion: the electromagnetic consciousness theory presents intriguing alternatives to conventional physics while addressing significant inconsistencies in current gravitational theory. While mainstream science maintains strong support for gravitational explanations, the proposed framework deserves serious investigation through rigorous research methods. The economic and career concerns surrounding potential paradigm shifts can be addressed through thoughtful transition planning that preserves scientific expertise while enabling exploration of alternative theories. Rather than viewing this as a replacement of existing knowledge, it could represent an expansion of our understanding of fundamental forces in consciousness. Future research should focus on testable predictions from electromagnetic theory, while maintaining the high standards of scientific inquiry that have advanced human knowledge throughout history. The goal should be truth-seeking rather than paradigm protection, with appropriate support for scientific careers during any theoretical transition. The Sphere Conspiracy: Tesla's legacy and the mystery of alien technology. What if everything we've been told about nuclear physics, UFOs, and the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century is just a carefully constructed lie? What if the mysterious metal spheres appearing around the world aren't alien technology at all, but rather the culmination of secret experiments that began over a century ago with one man's revolutionary vision? In the remote forests of Florida in 1974, the Betts family discovered something that would challenge everything we thought we knew about physics. An 8-inch metal sphere, perfectly smooth and impossibly heavy, sitting innocuously on their property. But this wasn't just any piece of debris. When they brought it home, the sphere began to exhibit behaviors that defied explanation. It would roll across the floor in response to music, particularly when someone played guitar. It generated magnetic fields that could be felt throughout the room. Most unnervingly, it seemed to respond to human presence, moving on its own as if possessed by some internal intelligence. Fast forward to March 2025, and history repeats itself in the most extraordinary way. Over the skies of Buga, Colombia, witnesses watched in stunned silence as another metallic sphere descended from the heavens. But this wasn't just another UFO sighting. This sphere, like its predecessor in Florida, exhibited the same impossible properties. Scientists studying the Buga sphere discovered that its weight mysteriously fluctuated between 2 and 10 kilograms, as if the laws of physics themselves were being rewritten in real time. The composition of these spheres tells a story that mainstream science doesn't want you to hear. While officials claimed the objects were made of complex alloys, deeper analysis revealed something far more significant. These weren't random pieces of space junk or foreign technology. They were precision-engineered devices constructed primarily from aluminum, but not just any aluminum. This was a specially formulated alloy designed to conduct electromagnetic energy in ways that conventional materials simply cannot achieve. But here's where the story takes a turn that will shake you to your core. The technology behind these spheres wasn't developed by extraterrestrial visitors. It was created right here on Earth by a man whose name has become synonymous with scientific revolution: Nikola Tesla. Tesla's experiments with wireless energy transmission and electromagnetic fields weren't just theoretical exercises. They were the foundation for a secret program that would change the course of human history. Working with spherical conductors and wireless energy systems, Tesla discovered that certain geometric forms could accumulate and manipulate electromagnetic charge in ways that seemed to violate the fundamental laws of physics. The connection becomes even more chilling when you consider Tesla's most controversial invention, the death ray. In 1908, the world witnessed the most powerful explosion in recorded history when something detonated over the Tunguska region of Siberia. The blast was 250 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, yet it left no radioactive fallout, no crater, no evidence of conventional explosives, just a pattern of destruction that looked remarkably like the aftermath of a massive electromagnetic discharge. What if the Tunguska event wasn't a meteor impact or a natural phenomenon? What if it was Tesla's death ray, being tested in the remote wilderness of Siberia? The timing is too perfect to be coincidence. Tesla was actively working on his Teleforce weapon at exactly the same time that this mysterious explosion occurred, thousands of miles away from any major population center. The implications become even more staggering when you examine Tesla's partnership with Albert Einstein during World War II. Together, these two giants of science were recruited for the Philadelphia experiment, a classified project designed to make naval vessels invisible to enemy radar. Einstein provided the theoretical framework through his unified field theory, while Tesla supplied the practical knowledge of electromagnetic manipulation. According to classified documents, the Philadelphia experiment successfully created an electromagnetic field that formed a considerable sphere around the USS Eldridge. But Tesla died in January 1943, before the project could be completed. His death wasn't just a loss to science. It was the end of humanity's first real attempt to harness the power of controlled electromagnetic manipulation. But Tesla's work didn't die with him. The principles he discovered were secretly incorporated into the Manhattan Project, the top-secret program to develop atomic weapons. Here's where everything you've been taught about nuclear physics falls apart. The scientists working on the atomic bomb weren't splitting atoms at all. They were using Tesla's electromagnetic principles to trigger atomic reproduction. Think about it logically. How can you split something when you don't even know what it looks like? In the 1940s, no one had ever seen an atom. Yet somehow, scientists claimed they could break them apart with pinpoint precision. The truth is far more elegant and terrifying. Instead of destroying atoms, they were creating the perfect conditions for atomic reproduction, using electromagnetic fields to trigger a natural process that releases massive amounts of energy. This is why atomic bombs create that distinctive electromagnetic pulse and electrical discharge pattern, while nuclear reactor meltdowns like Chernobyl produce traditional fire and radiation. The bombs aren't destroying matter. They're forcing it to reproduce at an exponential rate, releasing the energy required for atomic birth in a controlled burst. The spheres that have appeared around the world aren't alien technology. They're miniature fusion reactors based on Tesla's principles of atomic reproduction. The aluminum construction serves as a perfect conductor for the electromagnetic fields generated by the internal fusion process. The mysterious weight fluctuations aren't defying gravity. They're the result of atoms literally reproducing inside the sphere, creating new matter in real time. When the Betts family played guitar near their sphere, they weren't just making music. They were triggering specific resonant frequencies that Tesla had discovered could control electromagnetic fields. The sphere responded to these frequencies by activating its internal fusion reactor, causing it to move and generate magnetic fields. This technology represents the holy grail of energy production. A fusion reactor that works with atomic reproduction rather than atomic destruction would be infinitely safer and more efficient than current nuclear technology. Instead of containing violent reactions, you'd be nurturing a natural process that atoms want to undergo anyway. But here's the question that should terrify you. If this technology exists and has existed for decades, why isn't it being used to solve the world's energy problems? The answer lies in the nature of power itself. Those who control energy control civilization. A technology that could provide unlimited clean energy to everyone would eliminate the economic and political systems that keep the current power structure in place. The spheres appearing around the world aren't accidents, they're tests. Someone, somewhere, has perfected Tesla's original vision and is conducting experiments to see how far they can push the technology. The fact that these spheres are appearing in public, exhibiting impossible properties and then being quickly confiscated by government agencies tells us everything we need to know about what's really happening. We're living in a world where the most revolutionary technology in human history is being kept secret, while humanity continues to struggle with energy shortages, environmental destruction, and technological limitations that were solved over a century ago. The spheres are proof that everything we've been told about physics, energy, and the limits of human achievement is a carefully constructed lie designed to keep us dependent on obsolete systems. The truth is out there, hidden in plain sight. Tesla's legacy lives on in these mysterious spheres, waiting for someone brave enough to ask the right questions and demand the answers we all deserve. The question isn't whether this technology exists. The question is, what are they planning to do with it next? The Anunnaki Global Connection, a comprehensive analysis introduction. This report examines the compelling evidence for a global connection between the Anunnaki of Mesopotamian texts and ancient mythologies worldwide. Through analysis of multiple cultures and civilizations, consistent patterns emerge that suggest these stories may represent historical accounts rather than mere mythology. The core theory, the central hypothesis, proposes that the Anunnaki were an advanced extraterrestrial civilization that originated from Mars. According to ancient texts, their planet's atmosphere was failing, and they required gold to repair their atmospheric systems. This led them to Earth, where they established multiple civilizations and engaged in genetic engineering to create human workers for gold mining operations. Evidence from global mythologies. Mesopotamian foundation. The Anunnaki appear in Sumerian texts as advanced beings who taught forbidden knowledge to humans, engaged in genetic manipulation, and possessed sophisticated technology. These ancient accounts predate other mythological traditions by thousands of years, suggesting they may be the original source from which other cultures derived their stories. Egyptian Connections research confirms that Egyptian gods were actually the same Anunnaki beings operating under different names. The god Osiris, with his story of dismemberment and reassembly, could represent accounts of mechanical or robotic beings being repaired rather than traditional death and resurrection. The emphasis on gold in Egyptian culture aligns with the Anunnaki's need for this metal to repair their atmospheric systems. Greek mythology links ancient astronaut theorists have established that Greek sky god Uranos derives directly from the Anunnaki god Anu. The entire Greek pantheon, including Zeus, Hercules, and Hades, represents the same race of beings that ruled Mesopotamia, simply renamed as Egyptian civilization spread to Greece. This shows a clear lineage from the original Anunnaki accounts. Norse traditions. Norse mythology reveals connections through the Aesir and Vanir, representing two different groups of advanced beings who eventually made peace. The tall, blonde, blue-eyed Vikings are described as mixed with fallen angels, directly linking them to the Anunnaki bloodline. This explains the advanced seafaring and metallurgy skills of Norse peoples. Mayan and Aztec civilizations. The fair-skinned god Quetzalcoatl brought civilization knowledge and gold mining techniques to the Aztecs at Teotihuacan. Ancient astronaut theorists connect the Aztec capital Tenochtitlan directly to the Anunnaki gods of Mesopotamia. The massive pyramids and advanced astronomical knowledge of these civilizations mirror the achievements attributed to the Anunnaki elsewhere. Hindu traditions. Hindu texts describe vimanas, flying ships powered by Mercury that gods used to travel between planets and universes. The Proto-Indo-European mythology shows common elements shared across India, Persia, Mesopotamia, and Europe. Hindu epics directly reference the Anunnaki ancient alien gods in India's Indus Valley civilization. The Watchers connection. The 200 Watchers who fell from heaven in biblical accounts match exactly with the Anunnaki story. Both groups taught forbidden knowledge to humans, possessed advanced technology, and were involved in genetic manipulation. This represents the same events described from different cultural perspectives. Technological evidence pyramid systems. The Great Pyramid and other pyramid structures worldwide appear to be sophisticated technological installations rather than mere monuments. These structures feature precision granite chambers with piezoelectric properties, pressure buildup and release systems, complex shaft networks for energy regulation, gold capstones for conducting and focusing energy. The theory suggests these pyramids functioned as massive energy transmitters, possibly beaming power back to Mars to repair the failing atmosphere. Advanced metallurgy king. Tutankhamun's tomb contained a dagger made from meteoritic iron that was more valuable than gold. Analysis shows it was crafted from iron from at least 2 different meteorites, indicating an active search for space metals. This aligns with the Anunnaki's advanced knowledge of materials and their extraterrestrial origins. Visual documentation. The Pakal sarcophagus carving from the Mayan Temple of Inscriptions shows what appears to be a person operating advanced technology with flames or exhaust visible. Ancient astronaut theorists interpret this as clear evidence of spacecraft operation being documented in Mayan art. Cultural pattern analysis. The consistency of elements across isolated civilizations worldwide is remarkable. Advanced beings with superior technology, flying vehicles described as dragons or divine chariots, genetic manipulation and creation of humans, pyramid building and advanced architecture, gold mining emphasis, teaching of forbidden knowledge, similar flood narratives, tall, fair-skinned beings with advanced knowledge. These identical elements appearing independently across cultures separated by oceans and millennia suggest they document the same actual events rather than coincidental mythology. The Mars connection. The theory proposes that the Anunnaki's Mars repair project ultimately failed, stranding them on Earth. Over time, these advanced beings died out, but their genetic modifications created hybrid human descendants. This explains humanity's persistent drive to explore space and return to the stars, as well as our deep fascination with lost civilizations like Atlantis. Dragons as technology. Ancient descriptions of dragons may represent eyewitness accounts of Anunnaki vehicles or transportation systems. The consistent imagery of flying, fire-breathing creatures with immense power across cultures worldwide could describe advanced aircraft with propulsion systems that early humans interpreted as living beings. Genetic legacy. If the Anunnaki genetically engineered humans as described in ancient texts, modern humans would carry some of their genetic material. This could explain the universal human fascination with returning to the stars and the persistent search for lost advanced civilizations. Our attraction to stories of Atlantis and other lost civilizations may represent genetic memory drawing us back to our origins. Conclusion. The evidence for a global Anunnaki presence is compelling when examined across multiple cultures and civilizations. The consistency of technological descriptions, mythological elements, and cultural practices across isolated societies suggests These accounts represent historical documentation rather than purely mythological creation. The pattern of advanced beings teaching forbidden knowledge, engaging in genetic manipulation, building massive stone structures, and emphasizing gold mining appears too systematically across too many cultures to be coincidental. When combined with archaeological evidence of advanced metallurgy and sophisticated ancient architecture, the case for the Anunnaki, as historical rather than mythological beings, becomes increasingly persuasive. This analysis suggests that human civilization may have been fundamentally shaped by contact with an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, and that the stories preserved in our oldest texts and traditions may contain accurate historical information about humanity's true origins and development. The Phil Schneider investigation, Truth Hidden in Plain Sight. A pattern of suppression emerges. What happens when a geologist with top-secret clearance decides to break his silence about underground military operations? Phil Schneider's story reads like science fiction, but the physical evidence scattered across the American Southwest suggests something far more disturbing: a systematic campaign to discredit truth by packaging it as fantasy. The credible foundation Phil Schneider wasn't just another conspiracy theorist spinning tales from his basement. He was a professional geologist and engineer with documented expertise in exactly the kind of underground construction projects he later claimed to have worked on. His technical background provided the credibility that made his revelations so dangerous to those who preferred secrecy. Schneider's claims about working on deep underground military bases align perfectly with proven government capabilities. The existence of facilities like Cheyenne Mountain, carved directly through solid granite, demonstrates that the military possesses both the technology and resources to create massive underground installations. If they can bore through some of the hardest rock on Earth to create NORAD's mountain fortress, then Schneider's descriptions of underground construction projects become not just plausible, but entirely within established capabilities. The Dulce incident and its aftermath. According to Schneider's testimony, his world changed forever during construction work at Dulce Base in New Mexico during 1979. What he described as a violent encounter with extraterrestrial beings left him wounded and transformed him from a government contractor into a whistleblower. Following this incident, he claimed to have worked at Area 51, specifically at facilities including S2, where he witnessed testing of unusual spacecraft. The geographic clustering of these locations reveals a compelling pattern. Dulce Base in New Mexico sits remarkably close to Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, both positioned within the Four Corners region that has become synonymous with unexplained phenomena. This concentration of alleged underground facilities and paranormal activity in a specific geographic area suggests coordination rather than coincidence. The gaslighting strategy. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of Schneider's story involves what appears to be a deliberate campaign to discredit his revelations. The timing of fictional narratives featuring underground bases and alien encounters, often published under pseudonyms, raises disturbing questions about psychological warfare against whistleblowers. This strategy represents sophisticated gaslighting on a massive scale. By packaging real classified information as science fiction, authorities can ensure that when genuine witnesses come forward, their testimonies sound like recycled plot devices from books and movies. The public dismisses real revelations as fantasy because they've already been primed to associate such claims with entertainment. The suspicious N. Schneider's death in 1996 carries all the hallmarks of a cover-up. He had explicitly and publicly stated to multiple people, including his wife, that he was not suicidal and would never take his own life. He made these statements as insurance against exactly what subsequently happened, his death being ruled a suicide despite circumstances that suggested otherwise. The timing of his death, occurring as he gained public attention through his lecture tour, eliminates any possibility of coincidence. Someone with inside knowledge of government black projects doesn't accidentally die just as they're becoming effective at exposing those operations. The physical evidence. The underground infrastructure that Schneider described isn't theoretical. America's landscape contains extensive tunnel networks, underground storage facilities, and documented military installations that prove large-scale subterranean construction is routine. The limestone caves in Missouri that house millions of pounds of cheese demonstrate how massive underground operations can exist without public awareness. His rock and metal samples, displayed during his lectures, represent another piece of evidence that remains unexamined. Despite encouraging scientific analysis of these materials, no independent testing was ever conducted. The absence of analysis raises questions about whether external pressure prevented proper investigation. A consistent truth. The logical consistency of Schneider's account provides perhaps the strongest evidence for his credibility. If he was telling verifiable truths about his geological expertise, his work on underground construction projects, and the existence of classified facilities, then fabricating the more extraordinary claims makes no sense. Why would someone risk everything to expose underground military operations while simultaneously inventing alien encounters? The risk-to-benefit ratio supports authenticity. Schneider had nothing to gain and everything to lose by going public with his claims. His professional reputation, his safety, and ultimately his life were all sacrificed in service of what he believed was truth-telling. The broader pattern. Schneider's case fits within a larger pattern of government secrecy and suppression that extends to cases like the JFK assassination files. The strategy of withholding classified information for decades until key figures have died effectively prevents accountability and justice. When truth finally emerges, it's too late for consequences. This systematic delay in disclosure protects institutions rather than serving the public interest. It represents a form of temporal cover-up, where time itself becomes a weapon against transparency. The right to know American citizens possess constitutional rights to government transparency and accountability. Yet these rights often prove ineffective against classification systems and national security exemptions. The disconnect between theoretical rights and practical access to information represents a fundamental failure of democratic oversight. The suppression of whistleblowers like Schneider through intimidation, character assassination, and worse, demonstrates how far authorities will go to maintain secrecy. When the First Amendment right to criticize government becomes dangerous to exercise, democracy itself is under threat. Conclusion. Phil Schneider's story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the nature of government secrecy and the lengths to which authorities will go to maintain control over information. The physical evidence supporting his claims about underground construction, combined with his professional expertise and the suspicious circumstances of his death, creates a compelling case for taking his revelations seriously. Whether or not every detail of his extraordinary claims proves accurate, Schneider's courage in speaking out represents the kind of principled whistleblowing that democracy depends upon. His death serves as a warning about the costs of challenging entrenched power structures, while his testimony provides a roadmap for understanding how truth can be hidden in plain sight. The questions raised by his case extend far beyond underground bases or alien encounters. They strike at the heart of government accountability, constitutional rights, and the public's right to know what operations are being conducted in their name. In the end, Phil Schneider's legacy isn't just about what he claimed to have witnessed underground, but about the courage required to speak truth to power when the stakes are literally life and death.
Out where the fields stretch under the sun, we work together till the job is done. No man alone, no burden too tall. All as one, we rise or we fall. All as one, not all for one. Cruising these dirt roads till we're done. Hand in hand, we carry the weight through the dust. We ride our fate. The oaks are strong 'cause the roots run deep, like the promises we vowed to keep. Shoulder to shoulder through thick and thin, this is where the story begins. All as one, not all for one. Cruising these dirt roads till we're done. Hand in hand, we carry the way through the dust. We ride our fate. spirits bold. Through every storm we'll weather the fight. Together we'll find the morning light. All as one, not all for one.
We'll see you in the funny papers.
Don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe.
No way! That's great!